this lake is shaped like your bathtub back home. So very steep sides and a rounded out bottom. Average depth on the upper Waterton Lake here, 220 feet, or about 80 meters. That's average depth. So incredibly deep lake. The deepest spot's halfway down. Pointed out as we cruise by it, 487 feet. It's almost 150 meters straight down. And that actually makes this lake the deepest natural lake in the Canadian Rockies, this upper Waterton. There's a couple cliffy sections. You can be about 3 feet from these cliff walls in about 90 feet deep of water. Very dramatic. So the reason for the depth and the shape of this lake, glaciers. Glaciers carved out everything, looking ahead of us, everything that we're seeing around us here today. During the time period of the Great Glaciation, only the highest mountain peaks and summits around us would have been visible. So massive sheets of ice extending right out to the north there, onto those festive prairies. The original native name of Blackfoot into this valley from once the beginning. That translates roughly to lake within the walls. It's a very descriptive name for the fjord-like structure of this valley, carved out by those glaciers. 10 different mountain summits touch down to the shorelines, enclosing this upper Waterton Lake in. And the headwaters for the lake right at the very south end. So there's a ranger station on the U.S. side called Waterton, Montana. That's where the Waterton River flows in. 4 different glaciers feed this upper Waterton chain. Very cold fresh water. This is actually about as warm as the lake will get for the season. So if you want to go swimming, now is the time to do it. Because in a few weeks from now, it's going to start getting colder again. Right now, probably somewhere between 12 and 14 degrees Celsius top surface there. And if you drop below that, it does get much colder. During the winter months, this whole lake freezes over. So we can get a couple feet of ice out here. In a typical season, usually January is when that happens. We'll need about a week of minus 40 degrees Celsius and no wind in order for this lake to freeze. And then typically about mid-April is when it will start to break up each season. Got a nice and calm day here. Today, 2 days ago, we had about 80 km/h gusts, 4-foot waves, 4-foot swell out here.
The popular trail takes off from that spot called Swift Lake. Was rated as Canada's #1 hike at one point in time. Recently rated by National Geographic as one of the world's most thrilling day hikes. So it's about 16 kilometers. We hike through this old growth forest here off the left-hand side. Some of the last old growth forests in the park here. Douglas fir trees over 600 years old. We push back steadily into the alpine, past waterfalls, 4 sets of waterfalls. Crypt comes from the Greek word cryptos, meaning hidden. That lake is nestled away in a glacial system. So the only way to access it, you have to climb up a 10-foot steel ladder, take off your backpack, self down, through into a 60-foot-long tunnel, natural rock tunnel. And when you come up the other side of that, you're on a cliff ledge, looking about 600 feet down to the valley floor. There's bolted in a steel cable into the rock face. So you hold onto a steel cable, traverse around that ledge, get into that beautiful alpine lake. A little bit of an adventure in
Telescopes. But as we do get ready to pull back into the Waterton Marina here, just going to ask everyone to find a seat, hold their position as we pull into the dock here. We will give you the signal when it is safe to disembark. So on behalf of Captain Kevin, Captain Lucas, myself, our company, Waterton Shoreline Cruises, we would like to thank all of you folks for joining us here this afternoon. We'd like to wish you all a pleasant stay here in the National Park. Safe travels wherever they may take you. And if you do have any further questions, we'll be standing dockside as you disembark. We will be happy to help you out. Enjoy the rest of this beautiful day in the National Park, folks. Thank you.
Teko, bakit minsan mo na-isot na durug-durug mo? Wala na. Baka mainitan yung stream mo. Ito mo saan ka?
Gusto niyo ba? Candy?
Mountain off the left, back through that U-shaped valley. Some of the only snow left you'll see. Those are permanent snowfields called the Herbst snowfields. Used to be a glacier back there called the Herbst Glacier. About 15 years ago they had to reclassify that as a snowfield. And as you can see, it's receding quickly. There's not much left up there. Defining feature of a glacier is movement. In order to move, it needs critical mass, about 20 meters or 60 feet in depth. And at that point, gravity will start to move that downwards. There's 0 glaciers left in Waterton Park, about 22 of them left in Glacier National Park. But that park will still retain its name long after the current glaciers are gone, and that's due to the geological evidence. And so as I mentioned earlier, everything we're seeing around us here today was carved out by the glaciers. So fire and ice, the two most powerful forces in shaping this landscape that we're seeing around us here today. We're We're going to continue cruising along here. I've been talking for almost the entire way, so I'm going to set the microphone down now, let the scenery take over. So just sit back, relax, enjoy the views, talk amongst yourselves, feel free. It's a World Biosphere Reserve, and just recently Waterton Glacier combined became the world's first transnational dark sky preserve. So basically what that means, dark sky status, there's an absence of light pollution out here. There's no development down here. That means if you step out on a clear night, look up at the stars, you'll be amazed. Milky Way dazzling overhead, river of stars. You can see planets throughout the summer months. Just this past week, the Perseid meteor shower was happening here. And we get northern lights as well from time to time. So excellent stargazing. Local tour company called Dark Sky Guides. They have telescopes, binoculars. If you're interested in learning more about the constellations, the stars, check out that company, Dark Sky Guides. Looking off the right-hand side now, we can get a glimpse down to the south end of the Upper Waterton Lake. If you have sharp eyes or binoculars, you might pick out one lone building, one structure down there. That's the ranger station I mentioned. Goatpond, Montana. Peak population down there, 8 people. That's it. So trail crew, a few naturalists, a ranger. And the U.S. Park Service, they drive their vehicles into Canada, take boats down this lake to access that station. There's no roads from the American side, just hiking trails. So there sees no boundaries. And that is an excellent phrase to go by. We're the only species out here who recognize divisions, cut lines, borders. The trees don't stop growing. The bears aren't taxed on the amount of berries they bring back and forth. This is all one ecosystem. So everything out here is intimately connected. And these parks have done a great job working together, managing this.
Welcome to America.
Probably the easiest border crossing we'll make anytime soon.
Pakita mo yung green card mo sa
No passports, no customs check, no questions asked. And the reason for that, as I mentioned at the start of the trip, this is the world's first international peace mark.
Wala immigration dito.
1932 is when it was established. As we pull out of Boundary Bay here, though, take a look off the right for a scenic photo of the Citadel Peaks. That mountain with those jagged pinnacles and spires. Original native name for that mountain, Atunuxis. That translates roughly to the needles in the sky. Very descriptive name. Formed by a glacial arête. 2 different glaciers on opposite sides, carving, sculpting it out to that unique shape. The mountain in the background, in the foreground, Boundary Creek flowing into the lake here. Point source water. Some of the freshest water you'll find anywhere. Weaving down from high alpine snowfields, taking the water courseway, path of least resistance. As to whether you can drink that, like everything around here, the answer is always yes. Yes, you can drink that water. And yes, there's a small chance you'll get giardia.
Tubig dito, pwedeng inumin?
Naturally occurring parasite. So if you have a water filter, markers, they're called obelisks. Stone one out front, bronze one set just back behind it. And when those line up one in front of the other, you have a surveyor's perspective of the 49th parallel. Down here for the border, so take a look off the left-hand side first. You're going to start to see a cut line. There's a straight. Number 1 predator is actually the mountain lion, also known as the cougar or the puma. And we do have a healthy population of mountain lion out here. Those animals can measure 8 feet in length, weigh up to 220 pounds. Incredibly powerful. Very rare to see a mountain lion. They're nocturnal. So they do their hunting